existed in the world. Oh my God! You saw that? You saw that, Risto? What a goal! Like the
One
typical,
one
the
as
typical.
we are going
Like,
live.
that's perfect. That was perfect timing, bro. The typical great ball from Bastoni straight to Barella. Great control, and then he finished on the half volley, bro. Great, 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 great goal.
So, as they pointed out, it's 1-1. Barella scored after Bastoni's amazing pass. And we're back for another episode of the Barras of the World podcast. I think it's the last one before the season starts. We're playing next week, and currently Inter is playing against some Albanian club. It's 1-1, 55th minute. I think we'll see the end of the match, and then we'll say our goodbyes. But for now, Dave, you said you are the master when it comes to friendly matches and signings. How are you doing, my friend?
Well, today, man, today is not the best of days. You know, when it comes to news, you know how it's funny how we kind of live these things as far as the market goes, day by day as it happens. 2 weeks ago when we recorded the last episode, I was in high spirits because we were just starting to negotiate for Skamaka, and then there were rumors that we were interested in Samat Stitch as well, and we were gonna give them Fabian and stuff. But right now, all of a sudden, we might be missing out on Samat Stitch over pennies. And as far as the striker goes, we all know Skamaka ended up at Atalanta, and then it looks like we're gonna end up with Arnautovic. So to answer your question, bro, I'm not doing the best right now. I guess the fact that Barella just scored this beautiful goal on the in the second half in our friendly, that should make me feel a little better. But other than that, not the best, man. How you guys doing?
Great. Just happy to be back after 3-4 months for me.
For real,
Right.
it's good seeing you. Good seeing you, Ian.
It's been long. It's been
Can you
long.
tell our listeners what kind of jersey you have on for those who don't know?
I have recently made the decision to switch allegiances. I have to say I'm now a Richmond fan. I'm an AFC Richmond fan. Look at this beautiful face. So yeah, I just had enough of the bullshit, you know. Oh,
I
again,
hear you. I mean,
there we go, AFC Richmond. Yeah, it's fun being an Inter fan. You okay?
It's a shirt cam, Dave. Sorry. I'm just baffling. Dave doesn't hear us. Okay.
what happened?
We wanted you to show your shirt. It's a shirt cam.
Oh, yeah, I mean, my shirt is right here, bro. Come on, let's go. What are we talking about?
I don't know. You tell us. You wanted to speak about the signings that we have not made so far. We were talking so much about Skamaka last episode. Both of us. I had nothing against Skamaka. You wanted Skamaka. What are your thoughts now after everything
Well, you
that went through with him?
well you wanted Balogun, so I guess we're kind of on the same in the same boat, But obviously, it seemed to me that we were finally making the move that we needed, as far as going after Skamaka, given the players that we actually have in that striker department, being Lotaro, Turam, and Correa as well. But for whatever reason, reports vary. We decided not to go through with it. They're saying that it's over 2 million euros, which to me would be ridiculous if it's true. We decided not to go through with it. And obviously, we went for Balogun, who costs more than Skamaka. So I don't know. I don't know. The numbers never made sense for that deal. And obviously, Arsenal being a rich Premier League club, they were not going to give us any discounts. Why would they? And surely enough, we realized that was too rich for our taste as well. And now here we are. We're at Marko Arnautovic. We even tried for Taremi as well. I'm not sure if we're still on that deal as well. Taremi from Porto, but as far as what the rumors are saying right now, from the trustworthy sources, it seems like it's going to be Arnautovic. How do you feel?
I wanted to jump to you. What are your thoughts, as Dave said, regarding Arnautovic and regarding us not spending the 2-3 millions needed to sign
First of all,
Scamacca?
we're gonna get a very, very good striker in Arnautovic, the one that won the treble, might I add. Seasoned veteran of the English Premier League, of the Italian Serie A, as the Yanks say. We're gonna get. This is a very good deal. I don't understand the negative. Everyone's so negative about it. He is going to be. Okay, I can't do this no more. How fast did we fall? Did we have to settle for the likes of Arnautovic? Because if first of all, it was over 2 million for Scamacca apparently, and then we didn't have enough. We had enough money for Balogun, whatever his name is. I'm sorry. And then we didn't have enough for Scamacca, but all that money would have been enough for Lukaku, and now we're heckling over a few million for Arnautovic. I'm just confused. Whatever Pepe and Osilia are cooking, I'm just.
I don't think even. I don't even think it's about the money. At the end of the day, I think if they had like 30 plus million for Balogun, they had the 30 million needed for Scamacca. I think it's about them not budging and not giving up their maximum for any of the players. I think they had in mind, I don't know, 25 plus 5 is the max we can go, and we're not going anything over it. And they had, I think, a price in mind for every single player, and it didn't pan out for Scamacca. Balogun, I think it's a possibility. I'm not sure whether it's feasible for us to go with Arnautovic, Thuram, Correa, and Lautaro in the season. I think that's debacle. I think that's worsening your team when compared to the previous season, to I think any season prior to that. We have a lesser keeper in Sommer when compared to Onana. We'll have a worse attack. I think the only thing better than last season, maybe the midfield and midfield only. I think the wing backs are in a good position, but the defense and attack are just awful. I know Dave and I spoke about the situation, but I'm really disappointed with us not getting Trubin and
Bro,
us signing Aldero for the goalkeeper position.
To piggyback off what you're saying, if we go into the season with Lautaro, Thuram, Arnautovic, and Correa as our 4 strikers, it's malpractice, you know. And for a guy who I defend Beppe and Piero more than most, I'll say.
Mhm.
Like I would have to say, like, yo, you gotta resign after something like that, because us as fans, we know Correa. He's an injury prone player. It's a matter of time before he gets injured. He picks up little muscle injuries here and there. Arnautovic is the same thing. So if us as fans we can know that, I would expect the people who are actually making the decision for the club, who are negotiating over millions of dollars, of euros, making those kind of decisions, they would know as well. So if that's what they decide to go with, it'll be malpractice, and those guys will need to just pay with their jobs, man. Because if we end up in a situation where, and even you could even add Thuram to that as well, as far as I'm concerned, because he's fresh off tearing his ACL. No, granted, last season he played fairly well and fairly continuously without injuries, but he's fresh off tearing his ACL, so this is a guy that I'll expect to be fragile as well. So having Omni Lautaro, who by the way is not the most consistent striker, as our Omni guy that you could really rely on as being fit, that's malpractice. So I have to agree with Risto. Hopefully there's something else in the works that that hasn't been announced yet, but as of now, if that's what their plan is for the season, it's malpractice.
I do agree with you, but at the end of the day, I don't think any of us will be surprised considering they didn't sign anyone when they sold Lukaku. I don't think they have replaced him with any of the money we have received back then. Um, Jack was the main replacement, and although doing good, I don't think he's a direct replacement and never will be or never was intended to be. Um, I was disappointed back then, but after a good season, everyone forgets the vows and everything they have promised to the fans, to everyone.
Yeah. No, but
And so on about.
let's not forget about Turam because it's pretty much when we're talking about the numbers, we lost two strikers and we need two strikers to replace them. As far as when you talk about Zeko and Lukaku, we already brought one in, which is Turam. So it looks like Arnautovic is going to be the other one. And unless Korea moves, which I doubt, I don't see us going
Mhm.
for another one.
It's just as you said, it's a malpractice. I don't think it's the wise move. If you are doing that move, then you have all the hopes into Ram with his ACL history. You have Arnautovic, who I just went through his transfer market profile today, and I just noticed that he had 5 injuries last season, and I think he
Yep.
missed like 17 games in total, 15 or 17 games in total, and it's just not the wisest of moves. But we're just here talking and explaining, trying to find the common thing, and Marotta is doing the best that he can, I think, because I'm sure Marotta is the first person to spend the money if he had any. Um, we can go and search for the guy that we need to, and it's not Marotta. It's a malpractice, yes, but I think he's doing the best that he can. I know that it's their job on the line. We have nothing to lose. We have nothing of interest in here except our time and I don't know, fandom, what else. And he's actually putting his job online. So we have to believe. That's the only thing we have. I don't know what Ian thinks about the whole situation and how the situations are developing day by day. It's just I'm disappointed. As of now, I'm disappointed.
To anyone watching the game, apparently it's 2-1 to the Albanians.
It's
I
just
don't. I don't think Ian wants to talk football today, man. The guy's all about jokes, but
It
I
was a
mean,
pen as
Risto,
well.
I'm surprised, man. I'm really surprised that you're actually the one that's telling us, like for now you're disappointed, but you're expecting some more developments. I mean, you may be right, because I guess when you look at it, Marotta is still the best in the business as far as I'm concerned. So there's no way he can look at those four and think like it's okay to go into the season, a season
that's it.
where they've openly said that the goal is the Scudetto to get the second star or whatever. They've been openly saying that, and of course they want to make it far in the Champions League as well. I don't think they can expect that from Inzaghi with that, you know.
I think
And
their ego
the
and
funny thing is,
reputation.
we haven't even spoken about Samardzic, that situation. But go ahead.
Yeah, just Ian, before you continue, I just wanted to add. I think their reputation and ego is uh, on the line, and you have all the money to spend, at least on the money regarding Italy, because no one is spending a lot of money this summer, as we've seen, and everyone's selling more than buying. Um,
Mhm.
you have Lazio who have sold some of their players. You have Juventus eventually selling and not buying, the bestest, the best of players. Um, and you have Inter who are coming off a Champions League final in which they were huge underdogs, but they nearly won it. And to go into the season with Arnautovic as your main striker, and I don't know, it's just mind-boggling. Even to have an Arnautovic on the bench, spending 10 million euros on a player that's 34, zero resale value, and will be shipped off next season to China probably, who played in China 3 years ago and was washed up 3 years ago. who had 5 injuries last season as a 34-year-old, is just illogical move and not something that Marotta does. I, I'm I don't have any like logical explanation. I don't know if you have, Ian, but I do not have any.
I mean, it has to come down to the management, like the higher ups, giving him like an instruction how much money he can spend, because like we have money. We've been a selling club for the last 2 or 3 years. We have all the money from the Champions League that we got, which should be like around 90 million, something like that. I don't know the exact figure. But like, and we still have to keep selling, and we still can't like get proper players in. Like, it's just so confusing. And the worrying part isn't even that we can't get the players. The worrying part is that the season starts in 7 days or even 6 days. We play next Saturday. That's in 6 days. It's the first game against Monza. And now we're like, what? We're gonna go in with half of the attack. Gozens is on his way. Apparently, we'll have to see if we're gonna get what's his name, Rodrigo, Carlos
Augusto.
Augusto before then. It's just how did we end up here? How? I mean, even the Zomer and Audero sagas, when the goalkeepers are going to join, it took us practicing until like 1 week, 2 weeks before the season started to get even the goalkeepers in, the position which requires the most communication, the most everything, when it comes to building out from the back, which we do. And yeah, we
that shouldn't happen, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
going into preseason without your like first keeper is just suicide waiting to happen, because it was, who was it, Stankovic and Di Gennaro, and it's not something a club that comes off a Champions League final does to its team. I know you have to spend, but like, be reasonable. Like, do the most of your shit until July, and then in July and August, use the time to settle in those players and everything. It's just, what do you think about Carlos Augusto, Dave?
I don't know much about him, to be honest. I can't tell you I follow Monza, and to me, I feel like it's just a situation that he's younger than Gosens. He's gonna come on lower wages, and that's what they want to do. They brought Gosens in as a guy that was supposed to be our starting left wing back, and DeMarco developed to a level that was undeniable, and Gosens was never able to become that starter. We were never gonna keep him on there. I mean, in the squad on those wages as a bench player. So that's more like I see it. I don't see it more as okay, we're gonna upgrade on Gosens or even downgraded. I just think that we brought a player that's more of a backup quality player as opposed to a guy that we brought in to be a starter. So I think it's more of a saving wages type of situation.
Should anyone,
of course,
anyone,
if the deal does go through, as it looks like it will, I will do my research on him and find out more. But as of now, I don't know much about him.
should anyone be held accountable for spending 27 million on an already injured Gosens when he was signing for Inter? And they did not foresee the development of DeMarco, especially when you consider, having all the scouts, having all the management, and everything in place. Should anyone be held accountable at the end of the day?
Personally, I don't feel that way, because I remember when the deal happened, everybody across Inter Twitter were happy about it, and I don't remember seeing anybody mention, hey, he was injured, or hey, he may not fit, or whatever the case may be. So for that reason, I feel like some deals you hit a home run on them, and some deals you miss. It was just one of those situations that it didn't work out. But I don't see it in retrospect as a bad deal that we shouldn't have made, because I know for a fact I was super happy when it happened, and I just didn't see it coming. I didn't see DeMarco ever becoming a Inter level and starting 11 level for Inter level type of player which he's undeniably become. So I guess it's a good problem if you think about it that way.
Mhm.
What do you think, Ian?
True. I don't think anyone could have really predicted the whole series of events that happened after we signed him. Like, okay, coming off a muscle injury or whatever it was, it's going to be hard. But like, still, he has the quality. We've seen it almost every time that he played. Like, I remember his debut against Milan, he scored. I remember the Barcelona game. It's all games that he showed his quality. It's just a shame that he didn't have the luck when it came to injuries, and like, I don't know if he was rushed back in or if it was just our medical staff being dumbasses, not treating him well enough. And then obviously when you have a player like DiMarco, who spent most of his time in Switzerland up until like he was 24, 25, and then come in and just like be one of the best fullbacks in Europe, even being the best left back in last season, if you ask me. Sometimes it just doesn't work out,
Yeah, and one more thing that we should mention is that tactically he just was not a fit. He was more, in my opinion, more of a Conte wingback than he is an Inzaghi wingback. Inzaghi seems to require his wingbacks to do more with the ball at their feet and dribble at people. Gosen is more of a running into space type of guy, So I feel like he probably would have fit better if we still had Conte as opposed to Inzaghi. So that's probably the nail in the coffin for me, and as far as his career in Inter.
I do agree with that. Yeah, that's a good point. But going back to all the good players we have on the roster right now, I think we're pretty much set for the right and left wing back position if we get Carlos Augusto with Dumfries and Cuadrado on the right. The only, I think, the doubt we have is whether Samardzic is signing with Inter. I've seen a lot of reports in the last 2 or 3 days regarding them sacking their agent, his father, may actually negotiating or trying to renegotiate the deal with Inter.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts about, first of all, the player, the Samardzic is, and then all the saga regarding the transfer to Inter?
Well, first off, I'm not sure if you guys were watching. Lautaro just fluffing his lines again, and he had a one-on-one with the keeper and missed it. And I had to laugh because the way it's looking right now, this is going to be our main striker, and we all know how wasteful he is, and how we like to joke about how wasteful he is, And yeah, those guys, like, the season is gonna tank very, very fast if those guys don't pull a hat out of their pockets. But to answer your question, I'm a big fan of Samardzic, and honestly, I stopped worrying about him, or hoping we would get him when we got Fratesi, because to me, along with Fratesi, Samardzic was probably the best young midfielder in the league. So once we started negotiating for it, and reports came out that the deal was even sealed, he came in for his medical and all of that. To get this far, and to not close the deal over reportedly 300K. That's the latest I'm seeing on it. Supposedly the agent that they fired is who we actually agreed with, all the numbers and whatnot, and they fired the agent, and they're making further requests, which is probably an extra 300K from what I've read. Now I can see both sides. You can't, as an institution like Inter, you can't just let any player just come and strong arm you after you've agreed to a deal on paper or whatnot. And but on the other end, like, I don't want us to lose him for over that little amount of money, because at the end of the day, we're just gonna be like, okay, you know what? We kept our pride, we kept we didn't let them jerk us around. But how much is that worth? That's not gonna. Oh, that's a goal.
Yeah.
Beautiful goal. Um, but yeah, we're gonna keep our pride and keep our integrity. But that doesn't play football. Integrity doesn't play football. So we need players at this point, and if we have to swallow our pride a bit, bend over backwards a little bit to make some deals happen, that's what we need to do right now. Because as Ian mentioned,
Exactly.
less than less than a week away from the first match of the season, so we can't play around anymore. And like the summer situation, we spent 2 months negotiating for summer, only to pay the release clause that we didn't want to pay in the first place. So like we've been moving like clowns, man, and it's unfortunate.
uh, that situation is just like it's Bayern. You're not negotiating with, I don't know, with Ineze, Monza, or anyone else. It's Bayern, so they do not have to sell if they don't want to. They just paid 100 plus million for a striker whose contract ends next season. So if
No,
they
but
want
but to be
someone,
to be fair, I think one, we have a great relationship with them, and two, they were trying to buy a goalkeeper, and
Mhm.
I think that's what we were waiting on. We were waiting on them to get a replacement, and by then they would have accepted 4.5 or 4 mil for him. But that replacement, they wanted Mamardashvili, I believe, first from Valencia. That fell through, and then they wanted that other keeper from the Premier League that ended up going to Arsenal. That fell through as well. I guess at that point we decided, you know what, we got tired of waiting, so we're just gonna activate the release clause. And guess what? Yesterday they played a match and they lost 3-0 because they didn't have a goalkeeper. You know what I mean? So
No, I agree with that situation. My point is that you have to put on a scale whether the 1.5 or 2 million euros are worth more than having 2 months extra with your new keeper to settle in. So at the end of the day, I think those 2 million can cost you, I don't know, 6 points when the season starts. Instead of having, I don't know, the whole of July settling the player, now you have to settle the player while he, debuts after a week in the team. So instead of settling in
I
July, you
agree.
have to settle the player in September when the settling process could cost you points in Serie A and Champions League. So I think you have to put that on a scale, whether that's worth more than the actual points. But shit happens. We have been used to that and accustomed to in the past. I don't know, 5 6 years. It's Pata Inter, always has been, always will be. I'm just um,
No, that's a great way. That's a
off.
great way to look at it. Actually, very very good point. Like
Yeah,
that 1.5 million that we were trying to save is definitely going to cost us points. And one thing that we've noticed with Inzaghi as our manager is that not only are we slow starters, but we're going to be inconsistent in the league. We're going to drop points that we don't expect to. So looks like that's what's going to happen. That was a very good point, Risto. And it looks like we got a penalty. We're about to score. That's what
it
Ian's
wasn't a
focusing on.
fucking penalty. Yeah, it was everything but a penalty. It was a fucking flop from Lautaro.
I
I
don't I
think
don't
he's
trust
learning.
him. He's likely
Our
to miss it
captain
anyway.
flopping around.
While Inter shoots the penalty, I just wanted to turn our I don't know heads around the situation in the defense. I think we need a right center back. I've seen some of Bisic's game. I think he's not ready to be a first team player, and I think we are in a huge need of a right center back. As Lautaro scores the goal, he
Mhm.
confirms that we do not need another striker. I think Arnautovic will do the deed. Um, but yeah, the right center back position is, I think, the most important position in the team.
I
It
have the perfect player for the right center back position. A seasoned veteran of this area, over 200 games played, loads of goals scored, played for a top team for almost 10 years. Um, some of
no
you may know him. He just transferred this
Leonardo.
season, sadly.
No, no, he's
To,
talking about Sergio Ramos.
no, you're both wrong. Who did you say, Christoph?
Leonardo Bonucci.
No, you're wrong. He's better than that bum. He's better than Ramos. He's the
You said a
one,
lot of goals
the
scored. So
only,
who?
Mr. 33, Danilo D'Ambrosio. I
Yo,
still, I still
This
don't get
this
the
guy can't be
policy of
taken
letting
serious.
people go on.
no,
He can't be
yeah,
taken serious because you know how did we not see this coming? That's his Danilo D'Ambrosio's fanboy right there. I'm surprised he's not wearing a Monza shirt. We should have seen that coming. But go ahead, Ian. You don't
No, but
understand
like,
our policy of letting people walk away.
yeah, how does it happen that we let basically half the squad go before we get proper replacements? And then we still, by 6 days until the season, we still don't have enough of squad depth. We're gonna go into a season with what, Darmian is our starting center back, but De Vrij and Bastoni, or Acerbi and Bastoni, the other two, or whoever. Like, who's even gonna cover
I agree.
for
It's
Bastoni?
gonna be the Vrij, because I think Acerbi he has an injury he's dealing with right now, so he's gonna miss the first match of the season. But I agree. I think we actually brought Bissek as D'Ambrosio's replacement. That was supposed to be the young player that uh, that's part of our plan of getting younger. That's supposedly what we're trying to accomplish. That's what we were trying to accomplish before we decided to go for Arnautovic. But I understood that move. I don't have an issue with it. I know you like D'Ambrosio, but I feel like as far as that position goes, we're gonna end up with either Demiral or one of those boys from the Premier League, either Chaloba or Tanganga from
Tottenham.
Spurs. You
I
know,
don't like either of them.
Bro,
I only
neither
like
of me
Chaloba.
can play better than Chaloba, dude.
I like Chaloba actually. When I think about it, I just think about it as how he would fit in the league. He's an athletic kid. He's quick. The same way Smalling was able to extend his career by coming to Italy. I feel like Chaloba would actually be able to shine in Italy. But Tenganga, like that guy, I don't like him at all. And Demiral, I'm indifferent. I like him sometimes. I don't like him most of the time.
I
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
I do like Demiral. I just think that in the past few years he has had a lot of injuries, and that is something that worries me. We have a backline that's really prone to injuries, with the Vrij, becoming injury prone in the last few seasons. I mean, I think we do forget, and I do tend to forget that the Vrij at Lazio was an injury prone center back.
Yeah.
They were reluctant to extend his contract throughout the years because he was an injury prone player. He was really good at Inter with Skriniar at the beginning, and last season he started declining. He started getting injured really easily, um, and now he's back to his old stuff. At least in the last few months, playing decently well, getting to the lineup and whatever else. I do like him. I do think that he's still a worthy Serie A player, but I do think we need like a really good right center back. I think a striker and a right center back to replace Skriniar is a must. I don't want anyone like Bisek to replace them. I want someone that's either young and reliable or just experienced player that we know can fit in easily and just start off well because we have like look at Napoli. Napoli sold Kim for like 60 mil and replaced
Mhm.
him right away. They spent like 10 million on that player. And he seems, at least from what I've seen, like clips and shit like that, aesthetically, he seems more ready than Bisic is.
Who they replace him with? I don't even
The
remember.
Brazilian kid. I don't know what his name, but he's Brazilian, I think. Let me see.
Okay.
But besides the
I,
point,
I, I don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if Pepe is just waiting to get Pava for free because he's gonna run out of contract next summer.
come on.
And I
That's a
mean,
year wasting for nothing.
yeah, but at the end of the day, we know who our guys are and our directors. That's what they specialize in. Getting guys to agree to come for free and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. That's the only reason why I even brought up Pavar is because that's the highest quality player I can see us possibly getting in that position, in our position as well. He's a guy that's very versatile. and he could play either wing back or center back. He's kind of like the way I always call him is I call him a rich man's Darmian. So everything Darmian can do, another goal, very good. Everything Darmian can do, Parva can do it at a higher level. You know.
I do agree with you, but I think that's not really the smartest of moves to wait another year and to waste another year just to not spend any money, considering you have like a really good team on your hands. I'm just I don't think that will happen. I do have a certain trust in them, and I've always said, and I do maintain my position on that. I do believe Marota and Marota only. Like I do not trust any single one of our management team. We even saw Zanetti like a few years ago saying one thing and doing another thing. Like I don't think any of them is a man of their word as a management, as part of the management. I think Marotta is the only one that has been real to a certain point, that has said in the past, this is it. We do not have any plans to buy anyone else, and that has turned out to be true. I do believe Marotta, and I do have trust in him. I think he knows more than any one of us, and I think he'll bring someone for the right center back position, because at the end of the day, they will be judged upon who they sign and how they will perform. We have nothing to lose; they have a lot to lose. And I do think D'Ambrosio was supposed to, stay at the team, because I think losing so many players, and my issue goes back to losing players of a certain caliber who have been vocal in the dressing room and outside of it on the pitch. I think losing Handanovic, who I do despise the most, uh, losing D'Ambrosio, who has I have not been very fond of him, losing Brozovic, who has been 8 years with the club, losing, I don't know, Lukaku, even though on loan, who has been the most prolific striker we have had in the past, I don't know, the like 5 6 years. So we've lost all of those players in one window. I don't think that's smart, honestly, from that standpoint. But not signing someone to replace them in another is another thing. Um, I'm very fond of who we have signed so far. I think it's been a smart window, but it's not have been. It hasn't been the best as it could be. So,
Yeah.
what what are your thoughts for the coming week? Do you think any, I don't know, signing will be officialized? Do you think Samardzic will sign? And what do we do from now on?
Oh man, it's tough to even answer that question because it's hard to separate what I think will happen from what I hope will happen. Um, I think that uh, I think that Samardzic will probably end up somewhere else because although all that situation
Well,
started happening, he stayed in Milano for the weekend. Hoping that something does happen and that he can actually join the team or whatnot. Um, right before we started, it was reported that he left Milano and he went back to Udine. And it seems like we're staying pat in our position. We're not adding that extra money that they're asking for. I feel like another team, it may be Juve, it may be a team in the Premier League, as it was reported earlier. That the money won't be an issue for them, and they're coming and offer him money, and then they're taking. Now I feel like the only thing that we may have going for us is the fact that Udinese, they were very interested in Fabian, who's one of the young jewels in Italian football. They would love to actually have him and probably sell him further down the line if we don't activate that clause. So that may be one thing that pushes the Marxist to us. But other than that, I feel like if it was going to happen, it would have happened this weekend. Um, what else? I also expect us to finish up the center back situation as well this week because the season's about to start. So it's either going to be Chaloba or Tanganga, like I mentioned. I feel like whichever of those teams between Spurs and Chelsea, the first one that agrees to loan is going to be the team that we take one of their center backs. Other than that, everything else would be something that I'm pleasantly surprised. I can't say I expect anything else to happen, aside from Arnautovic and Carlos Augusto, which are pretty much already done, and a center back. That's about it. How about you guys? I wanna know how you guys feel, because usually I'm the positive one, but it seems like the roles have been reversed.
I mean, like you said, I think if we signed anyone, it would have happened until now. The best I can think of is going to be Arnautovic signing on Friday, and then we play him like 80th minute cameo on Saturday. I think the whole priorities of trying to sign Samardzic are like totally wrong. I think we have the best midfield possible that we could have in this moment. We should focus on defense and attack, and yet we still try to sign him. Like, I don't know, it's a mess. We still don't have enough center backs. We have the wing backs. We don't have enough strikers. It's just, I don't know. I'm not feeling confident we're gonna get a center back and a striker if we still sign Samardzic, or focus so much attention and power and focus on him. It's just, I don't know.
I do think that's what's gonna happen. My mind says one thing, my heart says another thing. I think my mind is leaning towards us signing Arnautovic and going into the season with Correa, Arnautovic, Thuram, and Lautaro. And for the back, I think it will be, as Dave said, we have to sign someone. Like, you have Darmian and Bisek, for example, De Vrij and Acerbi on the left. Who's gonna be? It's gonna be, I think, Bastoni, and who else? Someone has to be,
No one's covering for Bastoni right now.
So
numerically, we're short one.
Yeah, I mean, look. I think it was yesterday or the day before that. I was looking through Carlos Augusto's profile on Transfermarkt, and I saw that last season he has played mainly as left wing back, but the season prior, I think it was like 21-22. He played 34 games in Serie A. 17 were as left center back, and 17 were as left wing back. So I think that may be one of the solutions to cut costs. Bastoni plays almost every single game, so if you wanna, rest him a bit, and we know that Di Marco tends to get banged up at the later stages of the games. So that's one of the solutions, I think, if you want to cut costs. I do tend to agree with you guys that if we do sign Samardzic, we're gonna sign someone outright until the end of the season, and until the end of the transfer window. Sorry. I do think that we need badly a right center back, a starting one, and as Dave said, it will be either Chaloba. I don't think it will be the Spurs guy. I think it will be Chaloba if Chelsea do agree on a loan with option to sign, option to buy. Sorry. And for the attack, it will be Arnautovic. I've seen reports, and we've seen both Di Marzio and Fabrizio Romano confirming that we will sign him. 10 million is illogical to me, but it's something that it turns out the management believes in. And at the end of the day, I think we have lost Ons Kamaka, a starting striker, for 2 million for us to sign Arnautovic at the end. So going into the season with Arnautovic or Scamacca was the question. And I don't know. I'm just disappointed. Someone else that disappointed is our friend Said on Thuram. Sensi playing really good. Probably until the season starts, and then injuring himself for 3 months on September 1st. and congratulating Ian on his Twitter return.
X return, please. It's now called X. Let's respect Elon Musk's decision to rebrand.
We'll call it Twitter.
Dave, I know we have some errands to go through. Give us your last remarks regarding, I don't know, well, I would preface it as the preseason so far, and your thoughts coming into the season next week. And sorry, before you answer that, after you answer, Ian will answer it too. Next week, please do prepare your standings for this year, your table prediction, your goal scorer, your rookie of the year. We'll have some categories. I'll share it with you on Twitter, and we'll discuss that next week, alongside Inter's win against Monza 2-1 with 2 goals from Lautaro. Dave, please do take it.
Well, the preseason, I guess we just wrapped up the preseason because this was the last match of the preseason until we play next week. Business is going to be up on the way. I feel like we had a pretty good preseason. Inzaghi was able to get, I guess, most of the squad for most of the time. Thuram came in quite early. Fratesi came in quite early as well. I feel like the preseason, if anything, for those that didn't know, they showed us that Thuram is not quite a 9. He's more of a he's more similar to Correa in my opinion. He's not a guy that's going to be shooting that goal a lot or whatnot, and it seems like Arnautovic, despite everything that we complain about, the price, the age, the injury report, the profile is exactly what we need. And I feel like if he can't stay healthy, that team it creates a lot of chances. He can have a career type of season with us at 34, you know. But other than that, I feel like we had a good preseason. We performed very well in all of our games. I would like for the defense to have been better because we conceded a lot as well in all of our games, despite us having won most of them. Um, Hopefully, the directors can surprise us, but the finishing, the way it looks like this Mercado is going to finish, is going to leave a very bitter taste in a lot of our mouths, especially if we don't get the young Samaratic and we end up having to settle for Arnautovic as opposed to Skamaka or even a young Balogun, you know. Let's just hope that they have something up their sleeves and that next week, by this time next week when we're recording, we can be a little more upbeat, you know. How you feel, Ian?
I don't know. I just hope we sign someone so we don't have the squad depth problems, because when was the last time we made the January signing to what was it? Was it Gosens, the last January signing?
Yeah.
It was
That was
Gosens
2 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. So I'm not confident that we're gonna sign anyone in January. I just want someone now so we can, get them in, start the season strong, because we know we're gonna do a Pazza Inter moment in December, probably against Udinese, and then February again. I don't know. I just hope we get someone in. We start off strong with a 1-0 win. Let's say 1-0 win. I might be in the stands. I hope for more. I'm hoping for at least a 1-0 win from Kalanoglu. Sure, why not?
Last question, and Dave, just a quick one. Who's gonna start alongside the Brian Bastoni in defense, and who's gonna accompany Lautaro up front next week?
Oh, to me, I feel like it's going to be Darmian, which I'm fine with because Darmian started a Champions League final for us a couple months ago. A lot of people forgot that, so I'm completely fine with him starting the first match of the season. I trust him, and I feel like it's going to be Thuram next to Lautaro. And I feel like Lautaro is gonna have to score. Yeah, that's how I feel. Darmian to complete the defense, and it's gonna be Thuram to partner up Lautaro.
Ian?
I hope Darmian, at knowing, no, it's gonna be Darmian because we have no one else. It's gonna be Darmian, and then up top, I don't know. I'm feeling spicy. I think Correa is gonna start. I really do think Correa is gonna start because Thuram, I don't think he knows he's a striker. I don't think I've seen him maybe 5 times in the box in the entire preseason's highlights or anything like that. So I think for the start, before he gets like all settled in properly, it's gonna be Correa, and then after that, Thuram.
That makes sense.
I do agree with you. I think it's gonna be Thuram and Lautaro up front with Darmian coming in at right center back position, considering we have had the experience and I think the youth on the bench. Coming into the season, I'm pretty much positive, considering Juventus, Milan has signed some decent players, but I think overall is not that much better than they have been last season. But I think we will have more answers to all of those questions next week when we have seen Inter's game against Monza. We've seen all the Serie A matches, games, and everything that's happening with all teams. And yeah, I think I'm positive, although I shouldn't be. We don't have the same quality players as maybe we want to. I'm pretty much positive because no one else is better than they have been last season. No one else improved that much. Thank
Except
you.
Monza. They got D'Ambrosio.
And Gagliardini, bro.
and Gagliardini.
First game. It's gonna be 1-1.
Oh, Gagliardini is playing Inter. If he starts, I hope they go down. Honestly, like I hate that man.
He's gonna score. He's gonna score 90 minutes winner.
It would be really fun to see that.
And he's just gonna do the Messi jersey thing.
Imagine. Even Said even says that D'Ambrosio is scoring a header, but it doesn't matter because it's gonna be 4-1 for us. Yeah, thank you all for joining me. Thank you once again for spending 15 minutes with all of us. Davian and I are grateful. See each other next week. We'll have all the segments that we have had, even last season, even the season before that when we did the prediction sheet with Badar, I think it was. And I cannot wait for that because I'm expecting some ridiculous claims. We'll have like a ridiculous claim that it has to be true at the end of the season. So thank you all, and see you next week. Bye, guys. Take care. End podcast.